Hello, welcome. Let's see if we can get this. There, okay. Welcome to today's live stream. So I've got some really cool stuff to show you today. And yes, look at that. Hi, my name is John Skippy Limcool. Let's get over to the chat. I should put an announcement on. Shane is here. Sunny is here. So many people are here already. Wow. Welcome. Northern Canada. I love how you guys are all saying hi from where you are. I'll do that too. That's a fun way to start the show. So Portland says hello to all. That's lovely. Lovely. So, welcome. My name is John Skippy Limcool. I will be your software crazy host for some fun hijinks. I have so much to show you today. Unify has some new abilities that are going to put some jaws on the floor. We now have a one-shot mode, so that one note, here I can open up so you can see. One note playing a MIDI file can now be set to once. And if you do a 64th note arpeggiator, you have fairy dust. Or you have Tinkerbell. It's like, let's see, I need something to drink. Hey! There it is. I need something, let's see. I need to record with something. Hey, a nice recorder, cool. But how would you use this? Why is this so cool? Why am I so excited about this? Well, a couple of reasons. For one thing, take this, combine it with a hip hop track of drum groove and a really cool big sub bass. And we can go over here to the BPM splits. Let me make sure that you guys hear audio, right? Presto effect. Okay, yeah. So if we go over here to the splits, I have so many different places to take you on splits, but this one is right here, Twilight. One note. Yes, my friends, that is called a tonda. When I did voicing work for Korg in Japan, happens all the time. You're sitting there working away on something, and all of a sudden it would just die, and you go, oh, tonda. So, todo ne. So, let's see here. If I go over here, and let's get my display so it looks better. We are still in beta. We have these ghosts with MIDI files that just, when they feel like it, they just stop working. And we're working to solve these types of issues. Once we get through these, we'll be super close to getting this to you as an update, because everything else is working really well. But I'm not going to let it out until it is reliable with this stuff, because the MIDIBox is a huge part of what this update is about. There's so many places to go. So once again, that one shot, I will tell you, be aware when you start using these are eating up lots of notes. I'll show you. One of the other cool things we did with Unify with MIDIBox, let's see, let me zoom in so you guys can see this, because this is super cool. So if I go over here, let me see if I go over here and say duplicate this. So we'll say Duplicate. And this is zoom. So I want to be able to go back and forth. I'm getting more into what I can do with OBS because there's so many cool possibilities. So I can put this, and then I'm going to take this and go, oh, wait, not that, but this. We want to resize so that we can go like this. So you can see all the beauty of this. And here we'll get this out of the way so you can see just MIDIBox. Isn't that cool? And then I can push a button to go back to the full view, but I can push another button to go back to this. So MIDIBox, in the previous version that I showed last week, it had the ability to play a MIDI file at normal, twice as fast, or half as fast. But I have learned, with my experience with my partner in crime, Shane, that once something has been done in software coding, you can use it all over the place. And if you've set up something like being able to speed up and slow down a MIDI file, then that is done. And it's just more a matter of just what kind of parameters do you want for it. And so we talked about it, and we came up with a really cool system of fractional speed. Because I want those of you that are into experimental and weird, not expected kind of things to have some place to play, as well as those that just need practicality. So actually, before this morning, this went 1 to 8. And I asked Shane yesterday, and he worked to get this to where it now goes 1 to 6. Oh, you can't even see how far it goes down. How's that? 1 to 16. Which means in the time that it's playing this one measure, it could either play 16 of these super fast, eating up massive amounts of polyphony, or I could say the opposite. I want it to take this and take 16 measures to play that MIDI file. So that MIDI file has been stretched to where it takes 16 measures. So you can now interact with this arpeggiator, but it's been like crystallized and pulled apart. So you could, if you took this and with some of the other cool features inside of Unify, I could go over here to a pad. Let's say we go Cloud City. Some of these new pads I've been making are just mind-blowing because we've got these really cool granular textures and so forth. So let's go over here and say we want to combine Endless Dreams. And all I have to do is right-click and say, let's load it as layers. And now I have this MIDI file as this weird thing. And it's not in tune, right, from the starting note. There it is. So you can tune the MIDI file by shifting the notes it's going to play. Right? So that's just one of a myriad of ways. But if we take the same MIDI file, take it back to 1-to-1. Put it over a pad, it's super cool. We'll try this again. We crashed last time, so I'm going to Command S to save. But this is Twilight Hop. Where it's now playing a hip hop groove, or chill groove, or the broken beat vibe. And that arpeggiator. So, these are new drum kits. These are hip hop kits that are coming with this library. They're just insane. And we're not there yet, but Shane is working to get controllers so that we'll be able to go and then move another slider, and all of a sudden So you can take MIDI files and interact with them. I never thought I would be happy about MIDI files like this. I mean, I love them for groove, I love them for rhythm and stuff like that, but to be able to have it be part of your songwriting adventures is something kind of different. So it's not just a MIDI file that you hit play and you're playing live to it, or you're just listening to it back because it's playing some piece or something like that. You know, this is giving you some levels of interactivity that are really exciting for MIDI files. So I'm going to show you in a little bit. We'll make one. I want to make a drum groove, and then there's some other stuff we can do with MIDIBox. And I showed this a little bit last week. I've gotten really into this polyphonic playback, which is really fun. So if we say like 75, this is the other place that's really crazy that we can go. So here, let's turn this off. I made a video last night, just a little 1-minute video to be a little teaser, but here I have just a cool little, and we could do this. Let's actually go option and delete this. Right now it's doing this round robin sound, which is doing some really cool things. I just want it to be a simple. Right? I love these tongue drums. And they play so nice across the keyboard. So let's use our command here to make 7 other layers of this. If I turn on Polybox, oh wait. I need to, let's do that one more time because I want to turn on MIDIBox. What's nice with this is a way to do something and propagate it 8 times instead of having to do it to each 8 layer. So this is this MIDI file playing. Let's say I want to have it, right? And I have it inside of MIDIBox on the layer. And I have it set so that it's playing with transpose. Uh-oh. What did I do? Oh, because Polybox is on. It's doing that, right. Okay. And I have this curve setting. So you can modify MIDI files. I want it to be like that. So let's turn on Polybox, and remember how Polybox can take one thing and make it polyphonic, like a monophonic synth can become polyphonic. And so I started thinking about this idea. You can take a monophonic MIDI file and make it polyphonic too. So now it's playing this MIDI file back on all these layers. It's super fun because now you can go into these loop parameters and set a couple of these to some different timing values. Let's have one at 5, one at 7, and one at, let's say, 8. So they'll be a little bit faster. And take these that are kind of funky. Let's hit solo. Where are you at? It's probably this. Yeah. Turn it down a little bit so it's not quite so. And turn you down. Maybe we can go over here to Polybox and let's find the rate that works that we want. So we could say 3. That's better. So by doing this, I can you can get these rhythmic things to happen. So it's not just everybody has to play the same thing. They could actually be 8 different MIDI files. They could be 8 different sounds from any of your plugins. The whole design of this is that your synthesizer plugins you own, wherever this says Guru Sampler, you could plug in Contact, Omnisphere, Zebra, your favorite synths that you love to use to experiment and have them play and create. Yeah, well, I didn't have time to set up my live stream stuff. John, have you seen the above comments? Live stream is not invisible. We're only getting here through the email link. Oh. Oh. Let me see here. I'm getting a message about comments. Live stream not visible on YouTube or Facebook. I don't know what to do to get the YouTube. Let me go to Facebook. Let me go to Facebook and fix that really quick. Sorry that some of you don't see the link. I'm just using the link that was put into the let's see. Oh no. Fred Willard passed away. I like Fred Willard. Best of show. Such a great show. My goodness. All right. Live stream link. Let me see here. Let me edit this post and put in a new live stream link. Live dashboard. It was a weird looking link this time. It put in a very specific address, so I guess that's kind of strange. Well, it's showing that it works. Let me put that here. So this is on Facebook. Sorry. Let's see. We're live. I should update this. I guess that's good enough. Okay. See here. The stream is unlisted. I don't know how to list it. This is something that yes, but status is change privacy setting of the stream. Oh, public. There. Sorry. Thank you. There we go. It was a problem that it wasn't being seen publicly somehow. So I don't know how the privacy got set to private, but it's now public. So it should show up. Apologies. That will get a few more people to show up. You guys are the diehard. Yeah. So let's see what else is going on here. Okay, so yeah, reload your page. If you just hold down Option and click your reload button or Alt. So using this concept, I've done a couple going out there into crazy places. This is using the ARP, the blue ARP, to actually trigger and what's fun with this is this means that the blue ARP is able to do chords, and now it can do random, so that one note is a chord, and then everything else is random. Yeah, that looks good. And it gets even crazier. Go Tangled 2, and this is even more out there with different sounds. So that's all from one MIDI file, which is really cool. There's another one here that I did that's kind of fun. This is called Lassie Returns. We had fun with the wave station with Lassie. We had a whole joke about Lassie. But this is taking a single MIDI file and then having another layer that plays it twice as fast. And this string parts, like even half the speed of that, so. So those are all 4 different speeds of the same MIDI file. Add a bass, add some cool. So the places you're going to be able to go with these new sounds and these new abilities are super fun. I told you guys about Chaos. He did a drum kit that is inside of this the Cloud City library that's coming out. BP, it's actually down here. D drum kit. He did the Chaos Iconic. And I got the first set of grooves from him. I want to show you what he's working on because it's super cool stuff. BPM drum. Here's, actually, let's start with like Philandanko and like 85 beats per minute, I think will work. That's all from his drum kit. And a cool vibe. Did a couple others. Here's Rumble Me. The feel is just crazy. And then you'll be able to build around these, have this, and then go to the different sounds and use them. Harlem's 20,000 bops. You gotta get your Run DMC on. Right? So there's all sorts of fun stuff like that happening. When we come back, we're going to make a MIDI file drum groove and then convert that into notes so that we can have a polyphonic chord that plays in tight sync with the drum groove. So that's what we're going to do for the second half of this live stream after we get this started out. But to MIDIBox fractions. Yeah, this is not sync. These grooves have that feel because Mel Chaos Lewis put the feel in it. So how many presets will Unify hold and scroll down? As many as you put in a folder. This is over 200. The Unify standard library is 436 patches. So whatever you put into a folder, it's going to display. So it doesn't have limits as far as that goes. Okay. So there's so much to show you. We'll come back to this because it's crazy. It's really fun. While we're here, let me show you the other kind. There's so many big, cool advancements this week. This was really nice. I was really happy to see that they did this. Spitfire has released a new library called the Discovery of the BBC Orchestra. Think of this as the workstation version of a sample library, because typically in a sample library, you record the files and they can play for a very, very long time. And there's lots of samples and round robin and different articulations. They streamline the articulations. You only have like 4 for these violins. They're also shorter samples and then looped. Right there, you can hear the... And if you want a different orchestra part, you just click on their interface to say, I want the basses, and now... If you want the different horns, here's clarinets, here's percussion, back here your trumpets, so you could say trumpets, and... So for $50, or they actually have a thing where if you send them an email, explain your situation, in 2 weeks, you get a link to get the library for free. So they have, it's really nice what they're doing. If you don't have an orchestra, this is a great place to start. It uses their own plugin. It's not in Contact. This is a VST3 audio unit AAX plugin that you can load into your DAW or Unify. It works fine in Unify. Right? So they have violin 2, violas, cello. Here's violin 1. Here's your French horns, which are nice. I used to play French horn. I still have my French horn in the garage, but I cannot make it sound anything even close to this. Make it separately available MIDI effects. That is something we were talking about for sure, because that's something that, yeah, we're looking at our options to make some of the assets inside of Unify available outside of Unify. So nothing official to announce, but that is definitely something. That this is the percussion, and they have harp celeste. So, and celeste. They also have other percussion of tuned the tubular bells. Dinner time, marimbas. And all this things like that. So it's a really nice library. There's not like a lot of presets. It is what it is, right? So you can choose what you want here. And if you say load, it will load it by, it's the same thing as selecting it from the list. You can see them option-wise here to see what you have to work with, okay? So I highly recommend this if you don't have an orchestra, or else if you don't, like for legit. It's nice, and they have stereo positioning on everything, so when you're done, it sounds like it was recorded in a big studio and mixed because it's already pre-mixed. Now this library is available from spitfireaudio.com. So you go spitfireaudio.com. It is right here. And they are good friends of ours. They gave me permission for the piano book Church Grand, which is inside of Unify. Christian is a good guy. Hopefully he will be doing a video on Unify at some point here. I also wanted to point out, make sure you look at their labs, which are really, really cool. All sorts of interesting things that are free downloads. The soft piano, all these things are great. When you get these, they just have a separate thing here. I think it's a plugin now too. So if you go to Spitfire Audio to Labs, they just have this really cool interface where you choose what you want. And let me turn this up because it's so soft. This is the famous soft piano. It had felt on it, and it's very nice. But if you click here, there are all sorts of things in this. There's the Triangle, which is another one of the famous. It's got a really cool. It doesn't sound sampled at all. It sounds quite convincing to me. So make sure you check out what Spitfire Audio has to offer. The new Discover library is really nice. I'm very impressed with that, and hopefully you are too. I might be using soft piano tonight in a song. Yeah, it's really nice. It's definitely worth looking at. All right, so we're going to have some fun. I have my MacBook Pro hooked up. So if I go over here to OBS and push this button, boom. This is my MacBook Pro, which is Catalina compliant, which is important for what we're going to do next. Let's see if I can find out how to get the microphone to move so that I can be looking at this and have a little bit more maneuverability. There. So we're going to be taking a look for a bit at Logic Pro X. This is the 10.5 update that just came out. And it's insane. So if I go over here and if I turn this on and get like this, it's really insane what this has. Let's do this. When you first get Logic and you install it, make sure that you set it up so that you can, you have new project, you have tutorials. Make sure you go to demo song and download and try this out. This is a song to all of the sounds. And play them from the keyboard that were used in this song so you can study the production and see how things were done. The bass, the African kit. And it also shows some of the stuff as far as to the drum machine that is now built. Well, it's not really a plugin, but this ability to have this all the sounds from the record are right there inside of it to work with. So that's really cool. Get some nice production tricks and tips, ideas from that. There's so many places for this to go. One of the places where I was really excited, as you guys might know, I have a computer downstairs that's dedicated to running Rhythmic software for my sample development, for making libraries and for looping things and so forth. I don't know why, but you know, let's see, hold on a second. Don't say new. When you do an empty project, make sure that you set this up so that it's just like an empty channel strip. If for some reason you wanted to do this silly thing, so just go like that. But there's some crazy new tools inside of the sampler I want to show you. There's so much to this. There's this whole live mode where you can have loops and these can play, and if you're muting and bouncing and pushing buttons here, it can record it as what the song is at the real time. Other people have done videos showing these features, so I'm not really going to dive into that. I just want to talk a little bit about the sampler because the DNA of Rhythmic is finally put into Logic, and it has made it a true workhorse for sampling on so many levels. It's not even funny. And so that's, you know, that's my jam. So you can do such things like if you go to the browser, check this out. I love some of the, let's see, plucked. Where's plucked? Ballot. Let's just use this as a quick example because I'll show you how this works. Let's see here. I want to make sure that you're seeing this right. And I'm going to zoom. Let's see, duplicate this. Okay. So that way I can open up. There's a plugin in the utility list now called, Oh, it's not an audio of, what is it? How does it work? Auto sampler right here at the top. So we add auto sampler to this. Let me zoom in so you can see all this goodness. This is there was a version of this inside of, what was it? Inside of main stage. This has been considerably improved to have some pretty nice capabilities. You can click here to choose the range that you want to auto sample. You can choose how many velocity layers you want it to have, up to 16 velocity layers. You can say how many semitones you want it to, let's say we want it to do just, that's every note. But let's just have it do quickly like every octave, okay? Just to do it quickly. And auto loop, no, but you can have it auto loop if you want. And you say sample and say this will be whatever that is. And it now plays and samples in real time, so you have to wait while it does this, which is why I didn't want to give it too many samples to do. La la la. So how's the weather out there? But what it's doing is it's sampling and making a map of this automatically, so that you will then have this as a sample map. So when I did Mega Magic pads, I layered a whole bunch of different SAMs that I programmed. Oh, it's going faster because these are smaller. There, so it's done. Just by doing that, we can now go over here to, instead of sampler, we'll go to a new track and we can say instrument, go to sampler, and let's change my OBS settings so that it's not so zoomed out. I change my big to this. And I can now go to the list of patches, and it says auto sampled, and here it is. And I call this up and it sampled it. And I can now, they've changed this. As you can see, there's a whole lot more to this, including now kind of contact style. You can go over here to your edit tools. Let's see if we right click on this. Open in the audio editor, so we could hit normalize to normalize it to be a full volume. Yes, process it. Okay, and we close, and it should update that down. Now, I want to show you something that's super cool. Let's go to, no, we don't want one shot, we want loop. If we go over here, we now have the ability to say we want to have a, not one shot. Loop start. Let's have the loop start later. And, oh, mode, let's set it to crossfade forward. Now we can see it, right? And we can drag here. And then here, are you guys ready? This is the feature that I've been wanting for so long inside of the looping of here. If you control click on this, you get equal power crossfade. This is the crossfade of champions. It's incredible. This is what I use downstairs for looping, and it's now built into Logic. So you can just click on this crossfade. And if we made this a little bit later, it's lovely. There's no phasing, and there's now an option inside of here to control click and say, I think it's here. Where is it at? There's some place where you can now burn the loop data. I think here. Write sample loop into audio file. Boom. You can now put crossfade loops, burn the crossfade into the samples, and now you can use them in your sample libraries and stuff like that. So that is the best looping on the planet. There is nothing better than this looping right here that I have found in any other application to date. There might be out there, of course, because I don't know everything about everything at all, but it's the best that I have found to work with. And so instead of having to go downstairs all the time, I can use Logic Pro X 10.5. for sample development, which is really cool. It's nice to see. Come on. They don't have a true export. There's so much stuff still inside of KeyMap Pro that's not here. One of the things that I love in KeyMap Pro is I could go to the next sample, and Andrea, the gentleman that created Radmatica, that sold it to Apple 8 years ago in 2012, he had a whole page of filters, high-pass filters, low-pass filters, saturators, stereo imaging, gain, that you could apply per sample. So you could perfect when you go from one sample, it's a rather huge jump because we're an octave apart, right? But when you're closer together, even then there's still differences from one sample to another. And you could minimize those in the sample and then export it, and it would export all those filter settings and everything into the samples. So I still use my computer downstairs for that kind of functionality, but we're a lot closer with this. So I'm really happy that they have, rest in peace to the ESX24. They didn't even keep it around for legacy. I kind of miss the browser and stuff, but you still have this way here to go to the factory and load everything like that. And when you load something, it will load it with all the samples and all the maps. So they've done a better job of making a true modulation area for the sampler. I never had a problem with the middle area. I knew how to use that, unlike some of my friends. There's other really cool capabilities inside of here. I really like that they've taken the Apple loops, and let me zoom in on this. So if we go over here and say like this, and HD my big 2, where it says drag loops. Let me see if I take and go like this, and make this in the middle. See right here, this little tiny box that you can click? This lets you choose what types of loops you're looking at. And they now have what's called pattern loops. So you could just say pattern loops, and these are basically MIDI file sequences that you can play. They have all types of instruments. It's not just drums. But if you want, you can click this, drag it over here. It's now turned it into a track. And what's fun is you now have this step sequencer, which shows you everything in a much more logical way if you're into electronic programming. And I think the things that are really cool to see here, let's see, zoom this out. Typical Apple, it's all, big, colorful, big boxes and stuff like that, right? So you have, there. So check this out. The cool thing is right up here, you have a pull down of all sorts of options, including note repeat. So if you click this, you can see where the divisions are. You just click and drag, and you can set it. Or you can select all of them, I think. I guess you can't select all of them. But let's see if you... It's just on a per individual basis. They also have chance, which is pretty cool. So if you set something to have a low chance, then there's a good chance that these won't play. But other times it will, hopefully. There you go. So you can have slightly different levels of possibility of things happening. So you have a little bit of randomness in it to work with. So that's really cool. The other thing that's fun is doing things with drum loops themselves. If you go back to this loop and instead of say X, close all this down. How do I reset this? I thought that would click and get rid of it. All drums. There. No? Okay. I want to have I don't want this. I wanted to get back to actual loops. So maybe if we go here to this view. How do you get it back to? That's interesting. There's things I don't know, obviously, about what's going on here. Oh, probably because I'm on this track that's doing that. So if I go down here and select so that I'm not selected, see if I'm just on an audio track or something, that makes a difference. So I'm trying to get to where I get back to audio loops, but I'm not sure how to do that. So maybe I won't do that part of the demo here. Interesting. Well, if you get to loops, I can actually show you this in the old version of Logic that I have because it does this as well. But not with the sampler. The new sampler is really cool for this because it does basically like Redmatica or like Fatmatic Pro and other things from the past. Let's see. Close, don't save, new, empty project. Just two. Let's go to loops. And once again, now it gives us this pull down, right? That's what I'm trying to find is this silly little thing. Audio loops. Let's say we find some sort of a cool, not electric piano. We gotta say instrument and say kits. Or all drums. Beats. What's kind of fun. So here's kind of something interesting, right? You can drag this over and instead of just letting go right here, go all the way over here and now you have options as to what you want it to do. And I want to do quick sampler optimized. So it automatically loads it, optimizes it, puts markers. I can now play each of these little markers on my keyboard. I need to transpose my keyboard down an octave, it looks like. So let's go over here and say transpose down. So I can make drum grooves from an audio loop just as quickly as that. It basically turns any audio loop into a drum kit for you to play with. And if you zoom in on this, I should point out that they have added such cool things as like, if you click right here, it's, well, first of all, you can move that or remove that. I think if I double click, does that remove it? Yeah. Oh wait, no, get rid of that. And then I think if I go right here and, no, that's not it. There's another button right here. No? How do I get the fade? Let's see, where's fade? It has the ability to put fades on each of these transients, but heck if I know how to do it right now when I need to. But you can do things to even optimize the sound even better. But good stuff. So there's so much. I mean, there is so many things that are new to Logic, but those are the ones that got my interest the most, was things dealing with the groove, being able to take audio files and immediately optimize them. And you can do that with audio, like melodies and stuff as well. So some of these ideas hopefully will be showing up in other DAWs. And some can do stuff like this, of course, already. I mean, Ableton is totally capable of taking loops and pulling out transients. And I think you can do similar things also with Bitwig. I think everybody can do that kind of stuff to a certain point. So it's not something that's unique, but it is cool to see it be further refined, I guess, would be a way to think of it. All right. Let me see what you guys are talking about. Any questions you guys have? Yeah, they actually made, so you got to realize the history of Logic. It wasn't even called Logic. It was called Creator and Notator. It was two different programs on the Atari computers. That was 85, 86. Long time ago. Oh my gosh, don't even think about it. But I had an Atari 520 ST, had the best MIDI timing because it had a MIDI interface built into it. There was no lag, no cables. It was so incredibly responsive. And the little company called C-Lab had created Notator and Creator. And then they brought it out for Logic when they became something that they brought to the Mac computer after Atari started to kind of like diminish in sales and so forth. And it didn't have, this was way before audio recording. The first versions of Logic were just playing, it's just recording. Well, no, it didn't have audio. Yeah, I think it had more, I can't even remember what it had first, where that whole sequence went. We lost a bunch of Windows users there. Yes, we did. But they brought it out for Windows back then, before Apple bought them. And they changed their name to eMagic. I still have an eMagic baseball cap that I like to wear from time to time. And then Apple bought them. And boom, they stopped their support for Windows. And it became Mac only. And it is unfortunate they did that, because it worked great on the PC and the Mac. And it was fun to be able to collaborate, and it would have made Logic more of a standard if it was available on both platforms. But that's not the Apple way of doing things. So unfortunately, there are good tools on the PC. There are good tools besides this on the Mac for those that want to work with their own systems and so forth. This isn't the only way to do things, right? And so it's just, I've used it since the Atari, and so it's really hard for me to get my head wrapped around working with anything else. It's kind of like I've been in a relationship with Logic for 30 some years. So yeah. So let's do this. Let's shift from that to the Mac Pro. I'm glad that worked. Thank you, my little HDMI output interface and Blackmagic PCI card and all that stuff. It was little latency and stuff like that. Yeah, so we're going to have some fun now with MIDIBox. I want to show you a fun idea. We're going to go to a drum kit. So let's go down here to a drum kit. And I could type up here just drum kit, but it's easier just to do it for me this way. Let's use hip skip. Let's use down tempo. This is a fun. I haven't used this kit yet. I built it. I originally imported in the down-tempo thriller kit from Super Macho Drums, and then I resampled and recreated everything because it didn't have the right vibe to it, and because those were like changing the tuning and adding effects to Super Macho Drums, and so I totally made new drum sound. I kept these and slightly modified. All right, so let's do a down tempo kind of a groove, something kind of fun and creative. So we'll say 105 beats per minute and turn off cycle to start with. And no, I don't want to do that. So 2, 3. And I don't want to do half time, I'll do it for real time. No, I don't want to skip it. Stop it. So we have just a kind of little happy little thing, right? Cool. So I'm going to save this as a MIDI file. So we'll go over here and say down tempo thriller, live stream, happy dance, right? We'll do the happy dance multi while we're here. So let's quickly get this and say copy, export as a MIDI file, paste that to the desktop, save, and here it is, right here. Did I change OBS back over? I did. Okay, good. I want to make sure you're with me. So now I'm going to modify this MIDI file so that it's notes, and so we can just do this. We just double click, and you can't do that here, but double click, Bring this here, and I'm going to put it just to like something simple. Even just Unify just the piano. Just so we go. Well, let's just do it by typing in piano. And say we want to go to key. Let's just do, no, I don't want space. Oh, did I use grand? Key. There we go, Steinway. I didn't use piano in that name at all. Okay, so I have that to play. And right now my MIDI file sounds like this. So I'm going to open this up and do a little surgery to it to figure out what I want to do rhythm-wise. I wanted to follow the kick and snare. Let's see, I don't need this. I want to follow this groove right here. So I'm just going to get rid of the hi-hats. And then, so I'm going to have a MIDI file where I take all these notes. Let's take the snare. And let's take the whole thing and shift this up. Let's have it be C. So. Now if we play this with a drum groove. Right? So let's say we want to call this the happy dance note to chord. Copy, export, paste, done. So I have taken these two MIDI files that I created and here they are. So if I go into Unify, hello Unify, come here. And let's just use, oh, I got this latency thing I gotta fix. So, there. Let's see, I want to delete one of these velocities. And let's have it be the whole velocity, whole range. And this is the velocity switching grand, which is nice. So I'm going to load up the MIDI file. Let's see here. I need to put these into. The one rule of thumb when you're working with MIDI files is put them where you want them to be before you load them into Unify. Because once you have saved them, then Unify looks to that location for them. So I'm going to put these into MIDI files for the Cloud City library. This is the down. I'm going to cancel. Let's rename this just a little bit so I know it's down tempo. That's a better and a little bit easier. So let's go to the Finder and we go, this was using the down tempo kit. So I'm going to drag this over to drum kit down tempo Thrilla. And then the happy dance note chord goes to, I'll put it into melodies and motifs because this is where I'm putting things, even if they're going to be used polyphonically, the polychord stuff. Let's do this. Let's call it polychords so that we know that this is going to be a polychord. P-O-L-I-C-H-O-R-D. And then I don't need to say chord at the end. Okay. You can name this. The name that I gave it in the layer, in the sequencer, will still show up when I load it, but the file name will be that. So now all I have to do is go to the MIDI and go MIDIBox and go to the Cloud City library, click here to load, and we'll go to the melodies and motifs and polychord happy dance. So now, oh, it made it 148 bars. That's not what I want. So let's do a small edit. I had loop turned on, and so of course Logic being Logic and thinking logically said, oh no, you're just going to want to have that go forever, right? And I don't want it to go forever. So we got to go back to Cloud City, MIDI files. Sorry about this. I probably got to do it to the drums too. So let's go down tempo Thrilla. And we need to go to, Where is my thing I made today? It's right here. Drag this over and yes, it's thinking about it while it makes it 148 measures long or something like that, right? Oh, and separate tracks. Yeah, thank you. So let's shrink this so that we can get rid of everything but one. Isn't that nice? Let's get rid of all these extras. And then let's do the same thing for the melody. I wasn't expecting this. Sorry, guys. Go melodies, motifs, Polyphonic, happy dance. And it's going to probably do a similar either all one track. Oops. I have to remember not to have loop turned on. So let's select all of these and get rid of them. So now zoom in here. Now I can select this name, copy, export as MIDI, paste, save. Copy the name, export as MIDI, say, paste, save. So I've remade those. Let me put these back into their respective locations. This goes here. And I like this name for that. So I'm going to do that, and name that right. And then this is the down-tempo thriller. I'm going to copy that name, delete it, go over here, paste that name, and put it into the down-tempo thriller folder. Okay, sorry for that little side adventure we had to do. Why is this on ESX24? Just, that's interesting. So it just made a whole bunch of ESX24. Okay, so now we're on piano. We can unmute MIDIBox, and let's go over here and let's reload from the MIDI files, melodies, and motifs, the Polychords Happy Dance. There. Now it's... Oh, I'm on the down-tempo thriller kit, so I was doing the drum groove first. No, I wanted to do the piano first. Let's go back to finding the piano. So let's go Steinway Grand. Church Steinway, but just one layer. Right? Go to MIDIBox. We'll get this right. We'll say Cloud City. Back to melody, motifs, Polychords Happy Dance, and gate. And we want to pass also pitch, bend, and mod wheel through, and transpose. So it's playing it. Cool. So we need to enable MIDI effects, and I can just go to Polybox and say I'm going to want an 8-voice polyphonic version of this. The way it works is you just set your MIDI channel to 1 because we're doing separate MIDI channels for each note. That's how we... It's kind of like the ROLI, the MPE, the multiple performance. That's just different notes sent to MIDI channels. We're doing a similar thing. So select this to Polybox. Go over here and say make 7. And just like that, that MIDI file that was just one note. Right? So go to Instruments, to Cloud City. I don't have a bunch of drum grooves quite set up. I have some things here. We could go to just one of the kicks. This will load it as its own layer. Right? And it's in time. But we don't want it to do that, right? We want it to be really cool. So we're going to first turn off this the chorus note, because I want wherever I play to be the same drum sound. And then open Guru Sampler. And let's make sure we're tuned right and not transposed weird. And then go to the Airwave kit. Not this kit, but we want to go to the Cloud City. To the Down Tempo Thriller kit. Okay? And then go to the MIDIBox right here. And all we have to do is say Cloud City, let's get a different thing. So we go to MIDI files, to down tempo thriller. These are all MIDI files for down tempo thriller. So there's a ton of grooves for you to play with. Here's the one we made today. So I load that in. Okay, what is happening? I'm on the right part. Solo this. I have all samples. Huh. Let me see something really quick. I don't give up that easily. So let's drag over the MIDI file and let's put it onto a track and take a look at it really quick. Because it looks like it's playing the right parts. Oh, I know what it is, I bet. Is it MIDI channel? Set this. That shouldn't matter at this point. That's weird, because I see this looking right. That looks like the right MIDI file. That's what it's supposed to be doing. Ah. Well, let me save this in the buffer here. Copy. And then let's go to the down tempo thriller kit really quick. Let's turn on MIDIBox. And if I go over here, okay, so it's playing correctly here, see? So let's go paste, so we get everything back. Oh wait, no, paste. Oh, we would need to deselect this. So we go reset all, and then paste. And why are you not playing? So let's see what's going on. So the N is not supposed to be set to anything. MIDIBox, gate. That's so strange. Let me see one more time. You know, there's something weird on this. Let's just do this. Let's say delete that layer. I don't know what the heck is on that layer, but it's not right. So let's go over here and program it ourselves really quickly. Because my friends, I do not give up that quickly when I'm trying to do something fun. So go over here, go to Guru Sampler, go to Cloud City, to all of these cool samples. There's something like 2,000 samples in this library now. It's insane. Down tempo thriller, playing. Okay, go to MIDI files, MIDIBox. Come on, MIDIBox. Not gonna let me down. Choose MIDI file, down tempo thriller. There we go. We got it going. Now I might not use a piano when I did the final version of this. But it's pretty cool. So let's go save. We'll save it to Cloud City, BPM. I don't know what to call these things. This is keys. Happy Dance. Live stream. We'll just say LS. And that's good for now. And save as. Save. So we've made something. And then on top of this, what's fun with the new things in Unify, I could go down here. I could say, give me this as a new Unify layer to add something more to it. just like that. So it's really cool stuff we can do at this point. So that, taking MIDI files and all of a sudden playing them polyphonically, and now we could do things where let's go to that Unify layer, and let's lose the BPM component. And I'm going to mute the drums for a second, because check this out. We were talking about MIDIBox and all the cool things. With this fractional stuff, let's have a couple of these layers just play 2, and then one of them play 3. So we're going to get some, oh wait, not on the drums, but on like maybe up here. Let's say 3 for this one. There. Just by changing the playback speed of MIDIBox, and if I wanted to change the sound, this is how fast it is to change the sound. So let's call this down tempo happy dance, and it's like about 105. So let's go down here to the beginning and say, I don't know, maybe I won't do that. So I'm going to save this as a layer preset. So go save layer preset, because I need to have these anyhow. In Cloud City, new folder. Oh, I have drum kit like that started. Okay, yeah, so let's do this. So go down tempo thriller, save this into that folder, because I'm going to get rid of it now. And I'm going to actually go up here and just hold down init and click. That's how we get rid of everything in Unify except for the first layer. So that way, I want to make this a hipper sound. We got to turn off MIDIBox or Polybox so that it doesn't. And this was fast, right? So let's go back to 1. Let's make this a cool piano. So bring down the filtering. Something like about right there. And then all we have to do now is unmute Polybox and go over here and say make 7 copies of that, and pretty cool. I want to show you something else that we did this week that I think is pretty cool. Tell me what you think about this. I was thinking about our reverbs. Right. So let's do some divisions that are fun. So I've been doing just speed by speeding it faster. So let's have one do 4 times. Right? We can also have some that go slower by doing the division over here. So now let's have 2 of these be the other side of the division. Here's the slow one in there. And if you want this to cycle and do fun things, then you can put an arpeggiator in front of Polybox so that it will be changing the notes for you so you don't have to. So you go arpeggiator, blue arp. We can get this to just be 1/8 notes. Just 2 events and make them both chords. And now, let's say quarter notes. So we go like this. And then I have to put blue arp before Polybox or it doesn't work. And now it cycles and plays different ones. Let's open some of the filters up on some. So it's truly interactively changing. So having the arpeggiator to distribute the notes, because Polybox rule is each time it gets a new note, it shifts it to the next MIDI channel. So the arpeggiator is doing that shifting for me, which makes it dance. And then I saved as a layer preset the drum groove, so all I have to do is just go down to the down-tempo thriller, say I want to add this, and I think I saved it with the mute on, which I shouldn't have, so... Right? So it's really cool. What you can do timing-wise with the combination of MIDIBox, Polybox, and Blue Arp. And you can add Jitterbox to this too to give you random timing on parts so that things aren't synced up. All of the things that we're designing are designed to work together. And I'll get into that another time. That gets a little bit too deep for what we want to do here. But I want to show you something. We added a couple cool things to the reverbs that are coming with Unify 1.1. I wanted to make it so that they were a little bit easier for you guys to tell what is happening. And so I color coordinated the knobs. Yeah, what's cool is all this stuff is going on. And it's super efficient. If I add, there's some sense that will eat up the polyphony super fast, the processing power. So we have inside of all of the reverbs a color coordinated layout, and we put a little menu in here, the legends. You could see reverb volume, keyboard, the reverb time, stereo reverb filtering, and then reverb effects. So you can see that these blue all work with reverb time. So if I play with these, diffuse makes it more defined. And this makes it smoother. And pre-delay makes it later. These are cool effects that you can do to the sample, to the reverb. Make it all swirly. So we did this to all the reverbs. If you go to the room, same thing. They're color coordinated for the different, and it's the same colors to not confuse you guys. But I think a lot of people don't understand reverb parameters, and so I wanted to try to help you guys better understand the parameters for different reverbs, that they all have the same, these here are the reverb time. There's more controls in different ones for the reverb time, but that's a way to see them and have better visualization of what's going on. Your EQ stuff is orange. So these are the things that will actually change the sound of the reverb, stuff like that. So hopefully that is something you guys, some of you will like, because I know a lot of the people that are following along and doing this stuff, you're new to a lot of this. And so a little help when all these cool interfaces that are so really cool, and everything's the same color and there's no help. You just see diffuse and you have to figure out what it does. So this is to help you get a little bit more help in what is doing what for the sounds, right? But you can see how that makes the reverb darker, and this will get rid of the low cut. So it takes up less space. So that kind of stuff is also coming as updates to the reverbs. So that's really cool. The Hitman from Intel will be after you. How can they sell new processors? Most of the CPUs due to the Dragonfly reverbs. Yeah, as you can see, the purple for the reverb is taking up more of the processing space than playing 9 layers with MIDI files and samples. Right? So in closing, I just want to play through a couple other, this is some other MIDI files that I've, this is using the new thumb kalimba I sampled. And with the new features, you can just say pad and right click and say add this. So it's fun to build stuff up. Right? Then taking it from that concept to now it's playing all sorts of different samples. Frito-Lay. Yes, Frito colors for all. I have not forgotten Omnisphere. We will incorporate and work with Omnisphere again. That relationship is not done, I promise you. Some other things that are really cool in the things we're doing, I wanted to show you, we've got some pretty cool new things. Richard Souther, a dear friend for many, many years, did some really cool 6/8, 6/4 kind of grooves that are really cool using the new samples. Right? Why aren't we playing? MIDI channel, MIDI channel. We should, oh, is it got some sort of a, MIDIBox doesn't have the samples. Okay. Well, I won't show you those today. Oh, you know what it was? I probably had them on the desktop. And that's the thing. I moved them into the Cloud City thing, but it's still looking to the desktop. All these grooves are so cool. This is using the Euclidean rhythms. So we could go to the Buffalo drum and set this to a different fun stuff. So the rhythm side is definitely covered. The BPM split, there's so many places we can go now with the BPM split stuff. So if we go here and say BPM split, just to get there quickly, there's hip hop kind of thing. We have cloud hop. Speed this up a little bit. So you have cool vocal chops to work with these. Let's see, there's I'll show you, we'll do a whole walkthrough when the library comes out. There's these types of things that have the cool grooves. Yes, thank you for hitting like. Fun vibes like that. By creating new Unify layers, is it possible to have different compositions loaded and be able to switch between them? Maybe with setting up different key ranges. Absolutely. Totally can do that. You can actually make each song a Unify and save it, and then just use this command right here to load multiple layers of multiple Unify. And then each time you load a Unify at the very top level, you have the ability to set top and bottom note ranges. So you'll be able to easily make different songs that you play on your keyboard. We have all sorts of examples of songs playing. I have, let's see if we go reset all and go to Cloud City. There's these types. These are the MIDI songs where there's 4 different parts that are playing MIDI files of a song. Right? And then I added all the layers of drums. But it transposes on the keyboard. You can also do things like we have, where's my new day every day? If I set this to like 105. I haven't, this is one that I did before. This is what it used to look like. If you're using 6 MIDI files, you would have 6 MIDI effects up here. Each one's routed to a different, I haven't gone through each one of these and said, okay, MIDIBox and repointed it to the right thing. It wouldn't take that long to set up, but I'm not gonna do that with you guys right now. But compare that to this, which is, what is this, like 13 layers. There's no big set of a whole bunch of MIDI boxes on top, but there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There would be 7 MIDI effects up above connected to these, if not for the way that we've now put the MIDI effect per layer. And so it's a much cleaner system we have now that we have MIDI effects built into the layers. We don't have this thing where, you know, it's just where we came from. But by working this way, I was like, we need to fix this. And we did. So we can have the same effect of this working, but by deleting all of these and just having the MIDI effects built into these parts. And have it work that way. So, yeah, free delay. It reminds me of Ace of Base. Yeah, there's so many different grooves in here. I just did this one. This is as a nice pop song that inspired this patch. So we can do things like this. There's so many of these that are fun and crazy. That was a bigger version of that. But there's one I did here. There for you. This is a song. Oh, I have one more thing to show you. It's super cool. One of those, you know. And just before we go, Happy Gilmore is doing something super cool. This is another feature that we put into MIDIBox this week. And that is this. Let me make sure you guys can still see everything. Check this out. I'm going to zoom in. Check out this feature right here where it says notes. This lets us pass notes through Unify's MIDIBox. That way the MIDI file can just be controller, pitch bend, CC, weird data that you want it to do while you're playing another sound. So in this case, this is playing an LFO shape that I created as MIDI CC 1 controller data. And let's solo this so you can hear it. And then I just have the MIDI CC for the mod wheel turned up. And now if I turn this down, right? So it's sending MIDI CC to give me a synced LFO. also did it to another layer here. Let's brighten that one a little bit. Then added a groove. So you can do grooves with MIDI file data, changing parameters. And this can be the case. There are obviously synthesizers that can listen to more MIDI CC data. So you can change all of the different parameters in Massive, for example, or Serum, or more things in our synths as we develop them over time. But this ability to have because before this happened, it wouldn't allow any MIDI data through, because the way MIDI effects work is they're like, stuff comes in and then it's supposed to spit out the information. So it was fun to ask Shane to figure out how to do these types of things to let notes through, so that with the notes you can play. And now anything that can generate MIDI CC data, you can record, create really cool intricate patterns. And not only that, but this fractional stuff still works. So I could go to these two parts. Let's have one play half speed. And let's duplicate this, say duplicate. And let's see, that put it down here at the end, right? So we'll go up here to this MIDI box. And let's have this play at some really weird... So you can mess up the playback of all the different parts that they play at different rates. Here's 3, and that's 1, and so let's go to MIDI, that was right here. So all 3 of these are playing back the same MIDI file at different rates. Oh, I forgot to zoom out, so let's go back out to zoom, there. So as you can see, they're each playing at different rates. I mean, the complexity of what this is doing is just crazy. So once again, before we go, let's do shout out to Shane. Shout out to Shane for his development work to I come up with these ideas and it's up to him to make it happen. So shout out to brother Shane. Yeah, so the newest layer is playing 8/5 speed. So you can have it do crazy different things. It shows you what's happening. There's cool bars to show you how things are working. So as soon as we fix a few of the more ghosts in here, it's a really, really, really fun place to play, because you can transpose note data for drum grooves, or you can turn that off and say transpose key data, and now it lets you transpose it up and down the keyboard for like an arpeggiator, or you can turn that off and have it just play notes, and now you can do MIDI CC. And if you use the right sounds, that could be really cool with that kind of back and forth timing thing that's going on with 8/3 timing, right? So it's really cool. So I can't wait. This should be out. We're aiming within the next 2 weeks, if not sooner. So we're really close. We just have a few nagging issues that we want to make sure we try to solve before we get it to you masses to play with, because it's not fun when you call it up and it just without explanation stops working like it has on me today, that one time. So, but at least we only crashed once. So, you know, if I keep playing with it, I'm sure it would go again. But these things are so fun to play with. Are we back? Oh my gosh. Something said, yeah, it's primed. It's all set. I shouldn't set it up like that, but I just knew for some reason that those grooves for some reason are my acid test. If usually they play just fine and stable, but there are certain times where something has turned inside of Unify and it just makes it go, I don't think I'm going to right now. And it's usually right when it gets to repeating. So we're going to solve all these types of things so that it doesn't do that, right? Don't do that. See, now it's being nice. We'll play Sonny's flute. That'll make us feel better. I love these controls over here. This one in particular. And we're going to change the phrase from melody to the phrases. So fun. You have the drums go out. So it's just the shakers. Here are the shakes and the shakers. There's lots of samples like that for doing cool incidentals. And then on top of this, we could say, we won't do it. But anyway, there's so much fun. Let's do our shout outs. I think we're done for the day. I hope you guys learned something. Yes, we all prefer stability. So what's really challenging is that it's these types of things where we're just doing something normal that you don't expect is going to cause these unexpected. It won't crash now because it's being nice. Let's see here. What should we go out with? Becoming One with Water is pretty cool. This is Unify 1.1 soon. Cloud City, what you're hearing soon. These are all new samples. Everything you're hearing is new. It's like it's a new synthesizer with this library. It's been really fun to create these things that have such a cool, different vibe. To what we have in the factory voicing. It's truly a library that like gives it a completely new character. So we got Denmark in the house. Shout out Austin. Even FL Studio crashes on occasion. Yeah. I mean, they all do. Logic crashes from time to time. Cubase too. I mean, you have to save your work as you go. That's just the way it is. But we want to minimize it and get more. It's got a few things we want to get a little bit tighter, but it's so good. So you can tell we're ready to get it out to you guys. Edinburgh, Germany. In the UK, hey Will, good to see you. Thank you all for joining. It's such a fun, but bending my brain. Yes, now, just so you know, when Unify comes out with this update, I'm going to do a whole new series of videos really breaking it down, kind of like what the video that I posted last night. Just simple, covering some of the... There's so many facets to MIDIBox. I'm not just going to make one MIDIBox video. It'll be like MIDIBox for groove. MIDIBox for how you would work it to do polyphony. So you can see step by step the steps to do it. It's not that difficult to do, believe it or not. Because there's a patch inside of our 1.12 stuff here. That's the MIDIBox template, right? This is totally set up to do MIDI files as well. All you have to do, the only thing different with this process, go to MIDIBox, add MIDIBox to this. Say we say load MIDI files, and we say let's go to some sort of a melody, and I have all these different polychord things set up. So here's octave, and I hit gate, right? And we got to fix this so it doesn't have. And let's make it so it's polyphonic. So, right? Then all we have to do is unmute Polybox, and this is set for 4. So just go say, give me 3, and just like that. Oh wait, I need to add one more thing in MIDIBox. Transpose. And now we can say do that. Say, give me 3, and. So from our existing template, all you have to do is add a MIDI file to it. And now it's the same steps as if you were going to turn a monophonic synth polyphonic. It's just that now each of those parts is also playing a MIDI file. So we have the tools in place. It's very straightforward. It takes some getting used to because these are new concepts, but it's not impossible. And once you start diving in this, I've talked to a couple of our beta testers that are playing with these features, and they're having some really, really cool exploratory fun stuff. So, all right, good to see you guys. Please email details to Unify support for Deep Mixer. What did Deep Mixer say? You can have debugging included in the beta version of MIDIBox and catch where catching occurs. Yes, he's trying to do that, but the challenge is he's in Canada. I'm on the other side of the country in Portland, Oregon, and we've found with software that a lot of times somebody has problems with a certain plugin. Shane and I load up the same plugin, and we don't have the same problem. There's something about every one of your computer systems is like a drain, like some sort of aquarium with all sorts of different things growing in it, and they're all different, and they react differently. So we do have that. That's just part of the reality. But so good to see all of you. Yeah, quick starts and expert videos are definitely what will be coming. Stay safe, everybody. Thank you for watching. Will any talk of yeah, we won't get into talking that stuff. But anyway, it's so good to see you guys from around the world. Oh, we got something from South Africa today. Karabo, nice to see you, man. Take care. Thank you for joining. And be safe, and we'll see you next week. If you have ideas, requests of things you want to see in these live streams, let me know. I'm happy to go anywhere. We could play with anything, so just send the ideas. But thank you for watching. Stay home, stay safe, play with Unify. Add new toys to it. It's good times, okay? Thank you, Shane, for your help as always, and bless you all. We'll see you later.